Boy, I sure love being late. Hello guys, I'm the Gamer 10, and Sonic Frontiers has been out for a few weeks now, and I figure I might as well give my thoughts and impressions on it. First of all, I've not completed the game yet. I've simply been busy and or distracted with other stuff on the computer. I have it for the Switch. But in general, I will say I really like the game. Honestly, it might have overtaken Sonic Generations as my favorite Sonic game. Like, I guess, okay, let's get the bad news out of the way first. I do think the cyberspace levels really aren't that good. Some of them are just, I don't know, they feel clunky at times. Like with the boost, which I'll get into a little bit later. Everyone knows how awful and horrible Cyberspace 1-2 is with its 55-second S rank. I can't tell you how many times I failed that. It's because I didn't keep track, but I failed a lot, trust me. I don't like some of them, simply. I will say, though, for the most part, they're not too bad, I guess. They're mostly just, I don't know how to describe them. They're just kind of there for me. Like, they're pretty good. I guess they're pretty good, but in general, they're not amazing. Yes, this is unscripted. Yes, this is being recorded at 4 in the morning, right before I go to bed. I guess another bad thing I had to say, the variety on the islands, there's enough to be enjoyable, but not quite as much as I would have wanted. I would have liked if one of the islands was like ice themed or something, but I think honestly the variety they had was just fine. It's just a little pet peeve of mine. The Cocos, you know what? No, the Cocos aren't actually too bad. I really can't think of any other negatives. Okay, the control. The control is fine. I will tell you outright, I think the control is really good, and Sonic controls like a dream. He controls very similar to, he controls very similarly to how he controlled in Sonic Adventure. He feels very responsive, very tight, and there are almost no times where I didn't feel in control of Sonic, so that's really nice. I guess another peeve of mine is just I like that they did introduce momentum into the gameplay, but I don't feel like they could have. But I don't think they went as far as they could have, especially with grind rails, because in grind rails you do go faster if you're on an incline, like if you're going down on an incline if you're on a grind rail, but when you're going up you kind of travel a little bit slower, and that's about it. You don't ever stop. But that's really the majority of the negatives I had. Also, there are a few times where I'll hop on a spring and it's supposed to go directly to another spring, and there are times I would just go careening off into oblivion when I was supposed to hit the string. But did I say string? I meant spring. But again, all in all, not too bad. It's just a minor complaint of mine that I think can be patched out eventually. I pre-ordered the game, and while I like what I got, it was I could probably just flash a picture up on screen. It was like a tin game case for Frontiers. The problem is that game case is not designed with the Switch in mind, so I received a Sonic Frontiers game case for a disc version of Frontiers. But the problem is that I have the Switch version, and the Switch doesn't use discs. I don't think Sega really thought that one through, but it's again, just a minor pet peeve. I still think it's really cool, and I do have it on display, but still kind of something I would have preferred was a little different. So that's all the negatives I really have for Frontiers that I can think of off the top of my head right now. As far as positives go, I have so many positives with Frontiers, it's not even funny. For one, the story. Ian Flynn, Sega, or Sonic Team rather, they're the ones who developed the game, Sega just published it. Sonic Team, please get Ian Flynn to do more Sonic stories. It's so good. It's just, Sonic feels so fleshed out as a character, and just how he returns to how he's depicted in Sonic Adventure, a very carefree, easygoing guy, but he's still wise and knows a thing or two. Like, he's a veteran. He's been through a lot. Or Tails, Knuckles, and Amy, how they all feel like being with Sonic, while nice, it hampers down their personal development, and they want to expand themselves more, if you will. Like, and I'm trying very hard to avoid spoilers, by the way. Tails, he feels like he's too much in Sonic's shadow, so he wants to go it alone and really develop himself, because he even criticizes himself for how he was like, Sonic, help me, in Forces, which everyone didn't like. I mean, I've never played Forces, but from what I hear, I'm not missing out on a whole lot. I know that was a moment that didn't resonate with people. Amy, she feels like it's not that she's too love-struck with Sonic, but that she puts too much focus on Sonic and has too much love going towards Sonic and not towards other things, like, you know, the world. How she says she wants to share her love with the world. And Knuckles, he's tired of just being the guardian of the Master Emerald. Probably he'll get Tails to develop a guardian robot for the Master Emerald or something, or somehow Knuckles would make the Master Emerald self-protecting. How he wants to go out and live a little on his own. Like, yeah, he goes on adventures with Sonic and all that, but he just kind of wants to... I guess he just wants to be a loner or something? I don't know, I feel like Knuckles had the weakest of those three, but at the same time, I can kind of forgive it, considering he was really well portrayed in the prologue video, Sonic Frontiers Divergence. Which, by the way, if you haven't seen that yet, I made a post about it on YouTube. Go watch it. It's really good. If you haven't bought the game yet, it's a nice little prelude to the game. Let's see. I already talked about the controls. The open world, I think for Sega's first time. First of all, can we cut Sonic Team a little bit of slack here? I mean, okay. I will say that the open world, it is a little rough around the edges here and there, but I will say, for one, it runs smoothly on the Switch. It doesn't run at 60 FPS, unfortunately, but I can forgive that. But it does run really smoothly on the Switch. Switch Force being like, the game's gonna run disastrously on the Switch. I really like how it feels really, like, different from Sonic, without feeling so different that it feels like Sonic's in a different game. I just really like the setting. It looks beautiful. I will say, though, one criticism I did miss was the pop-in did look kind of iffy here and there, but all in all, it wasn't too bad. The grind rails look pretty nice with how they rendered in low poly, but then came into high poly like a lot of other games. If only they did that for the rest of the levels. But no, Sonic Team did do a really good job for their first open world. And if it's not their first open world, feel free to make fun of me in the comments. But seriously, they did do a really good job. It did feel really nice and open. You know, you didn't even have to face enemies. Like, you didn't even have to go to cyberspace if you played your cards right. You didn't have to face any enemies if you didn't want to. You could literally run around freely. You could just... It just feels good to run around in that game and do random things. Like boosting, which, by the way, I do kind of appreciate that they put the boost on a trigger, but it does feel a little weird when you're trying to quick step. But no, like boosting around, I never felt inconvenienced by traveling. Heck, I'm actually kind of glad that they saved fast traveling for when you fully map out an island, because it just feels really nice to travel around the open world. It's not like in, say, Breath of the Wild or heck, even Skyrim, to where traversing the open world just feels kind of like a slog or painful if you're trying to go somewhere without... And I know Skyrim is a poor example because there's fast travel, but long story short, it feels nice to travel because you're Sonic the Hedgehog, okay? Getting from point A to point B really fast is just kind of what you do. Let's see what else. I will say the enemies aren't amazing, but they're not creative, but they are kind of cool. Probably my favorite part of the game was the supersonic boss fights. I haven't faced the final boss, although I hear it's not very whelming. It's not very impressive compared to the rest of the game. But the supersonic boss fights against Giganto, Wyvern, and Knight, oh my god, that was a treat. Like, oh my god. Just okay, I'm not a huge fan of new metal or whatever it was that they were playing. Was it Screamo? I don't know. But I'm not a huge fan of that music genre, but I'm willing to forgive it with the supersonic boss fights. For one, these bosses are immense. The Titans, they're enormous, and they just get bigger and bigger as you go along. And then when you climb to the top, all of friggin' Shadow of the Colossus, and then you get the final Chaos Emerald, and then you transform into Supersonic, and it's just, the music kicks in, you just, oh my god. When you, like, any of those bosses, with the music and everything, and just the overall atmosphere, you think you're in the final boss. But you're not. It's so good. Oh my god. That's, like, they're so cinematic, but that you still feel in full control. Heck, it even feels like they reference, what was it? I think it was Final Fantasy Sonic X or so. It was like a Flash Sonic RPG that was on like games like It was on sites like Newgrounds, Most Plays, eBombs. Was it on eBombs World? I don't know. But it was on like a bunch of those old websites back in the day, and everyone remembers playing them. Heck, even me. And it just felt like that during the night fight. And even Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, oh my god, it's just, I cannot stop gushing about the supersonic boss fights. They're so friggin' good. Oh my god. And just, you felt so in control of Supersonic. It felt just so good. And even the combat, yeah, the combat felt nice. Like, it really felt like Sonic Unleashed, but a little bit died down, but still functional. Like, it felt fun to just punch enemies as Sonic. It's so, like, weirdly comical, but at the same time, you feel so friggin' awesome just beating these enemies to a bloody pulp. You don't actually beat enemies with blood in this game, don't worry, they're all robots. But again, it's 4 a.m. Alright, I'm about to go to bed after this. But no, it just feels good to just beat enemies in this game. It's like Sonic Unleashed met Shadow the Hedgehog in terms of combat, which, by the way, I hope they make Shadow a playable character in this game eventually. I know modders have already done that, but please Sonic Team, get on this. But no, it just felt fun to pummel enemies. I can agree it gets a little repetitive, like using the Psy-Loop on some enemies on Chaos Island and Ares Island and all that. How they just make that impenetrable defense. You have to use the Psy-Loop on them. I will say that is kind of annoying, but it's, again, not that big of a deal. The combat feels nice. And by the way, the Psy-Loop, also really cool. I like how you use that to interact with a lot of things, and you don't even have it from the beginning. Yes, Switch Force. Drawing circles was actually pretty fun in this game. It's also kind of nice how you can get unlimited boost when you draw an infinity symbol. That was really creative, I felt. I will say it is kind of broken to abuse, though, considering you can just go in circles a bunch to regain any rings that you lost and get back up to full rings and get your movie Sonic boost that makes you a billion times faster. I guess another complaint that I have. Actually, no, I'm gonna say this for just a sec. They made a Big the Cat section actually really fun and engaging. I really, 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 really like that. I think Big's fishing is really relaxing with the music and just the really kicked back atmosphere. Like, the fishing spots are really peaceful. There are times where I was like, oh, I kind of wish I could go here and just fish with Big for a little bit. It was really cool. And just getting a bunch of extra unlockables was also really nice from the from fishing. Anyway, which by the way, you can abuse that as well. That's a little abusable. But no, one thing I will criticize is the speed upgrade in the game. Like, okay, when you get Cocos in this game, you can take them to the Elder Coco, and you can upgrade your ring capacity and your speed. First of all, I completely agree with Char5 that upgrading those one at a time manually is really ridiculous, and I'd much rather just choose how many levels I'd want to level them up. But that's a story for another day, I guess. But I will say that the speed upgrades are kind of dumb, as in you don't actually get an upgrade to your base movement speed, your boost, or even your boost at full ring capacity. It's that it makes your drop dash more powerful, which I will say, by the way, the drop dash, really, really, really fun to use. I'm very happy they brought that back from Mania. And Sonic Forces, but let's be real, who remembers the drop dash from Forces? It makes your drop dash more powerful. It makes you run up walls faster. And if you level your speed all the way up to 99, you can get the super boost without having full ring capacity. But still, that is kind of dumb that it doesn't affect your boost speed. I kind of wish that was the case. But again, that's a minor complaint, because Sonic is fast enough as is. So if they decide to jack up the boost speed for a speed upgrade in a future patch, I don't mind that one bit. But yeah, that's really all my impressions about Sonic Frontiers. Oh, one last thing. I love the inclusion of, I can't remember if I listed this when I was talking about cyberspace earlier. I did really like how they brought back a few older stages for the for cyberspace. How they were like, there's one stage that's Skyrail from Sonic Adventure 2. There's another one that's, I think, City Escape. There's one that's Green Forest. There's even one that's Radical Highway. They brought back Rooftop Run's Day Stage from Unleashed. I think actually... No, I don't... Is Cyberspace 1-2 based on Rooftop Run? I don't remember. They brought back... Let's see... Metal Harbor, although I think I mentioned that. If not, great. I kind of wish they brought back stages from... Like, I kind of wish they brought back speed sections from Sonic Heroes. I kind of wish they brought back Emerald Coast in a way. That would have been really friggin' awesome to see. It would be really interesting to see a Sonic 06 level, but I get why they wouldn't do that, because they actually wanted to erase Sonic 06 from the continuity, which, given that game's could be better story, good. But yeah, that's really my impressions on Sonic Frontiers. I almost said Sonic 06. If you have not picked up this game yet and you love Sonic, get it. It's really, really good. Like $60 is a bit steep, I will say, but it's whatever. A lot of games are $60 these days, but I really wish it was closer to like 50 or even 40. But all in all, Sonic Frontiers is just a fantastic experience all around, and I strongly recommend it for anyone who's a fan of Sonic. Like, again, first game I ever pre-ordered. So, yeah, I felt very strongly about this game when it was leading up to release, and that night of work that I had before I could go to GameStop and finally buy the game, dear God, it was one of the most painful things I've ever had to go through. And just every time I pick up the game, I'm like, okay, I'm going to play it for just a little bit. And I expect to play it for about 20-30 minutes or so. I end up playing it for 3 hours. But No, it is. I do really like the game, and I also really like that the memory tokens don't count towards your 100% completion rate. You just need to map out each of the islands. I really like that feature as a completionist. But yeah, so if you haven't bought the game, go buy it. Show Sonic Team and Sega where the money's at. I really hope to God they do more with this open world formula. Heck, Takashi Iizuka has even said that he wants to develop Sonic Adventure 3, which, if that happens, so help me God, Sega, I will love you forever. If I don't already love you forever. But no, just go buy Sonic Frontiers. It's so good. Anyway, that's really all I wanted to say on the matter. Eat your heart out, Switch Force. It's really good. But yeah, anyway, with that, I'm the Gamer Raider 10, and there's a few extra things that I need to take care of, but Okami is definitely one of them. And I will say though, for my next Let's Play, I want to do something a little bit unique. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, I know I'm mentioning my next Let's Play already when I'm about a third of the way through Okami. Whatever, just go buy Sonic Frontiers. I'm the Gamer Raider 10. Like, comment, subscribe. I really want to get 1,000 subscribers at least before June next year, if not next December. But yeah, anyway, that's all the time I have. I'm the Gamer Raider 10, and I'll see you guys next time.